Good morning, folks. It is another amazing, beautiful Monday morning, and we are so excited to have each and every one of you on the line this morning. Welcome to Momentum Mondays. I am excited to introduce to you a phenomenal woman, someone who is known as a professional coach, a role model, mentor, leader, national speaker, vice president of human resources in corporate America, and many others. But she says her most important titles are wife and mom. She has helped me and hundreds of women across the country become better and stronger. She is the host and the visionary of this call. I am absolutely grateful and thankful and just honored to bring to the line Miss Jill Jordan Green. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Lynette. How are you this morning?
I am pumped up, excited, and grateful indeed.
Oh, my goodness. Good morning, folks, and welcome to Momentum Monday. Yes, I'm Jill Green, the host of the call that's designed to wake you up, shake you up, and take you up to new levels in your life, your career, your business, and your dreams. And we are grateful this morning. Not just this morning, but we are grateful every single Monday morning. And before we get started with our amazing conversation this morning, I'd like to introduce to you a few of my amazing co-hosts, and we're going to start on the East Coast. He is known as the Bishop, Bishop Dickie Robbins. He is the pastor of Life in Christ Cathedral of Faith Ministries. He's the author of the brand new devotional, Wisdom of the Word, 90-Day Journey, all the way from Chester, PA. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning. What a blessed day it is, and I have determined to be grateful.
Indeed. And we're going to stay out there on the East Coast. She is Miss Michelle Washington. She is the visionary of Women of More campaign. She is the author of the brand new Women of More magazine, all the way from Newark, Delaware. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Jill Jordan Green. I am so grateful and thankful. This is a way of life for me. Good morning.
Good morning. And we're going to travel on to the Midwest. She's all the way from my hometown. Her name is Miss Danita Washington. She's the founder of Girls Rock. She's a community leader, an international youth advocate, all the way from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Good morning, Danita.
Good morning, Jill. Good morning, Momentum Monday and champions. Remember today, especially with the holidays coming, to lead with love. Someone, I promise you, that you encounter this week will need it.
Absolutely, Danita. They will absolutely need it. And last but certainly not least, you hear her voice every single Monday morning. She welcomes you. She is Lynette Rogers. She's the owner of Virtually Yours. She's the founder of Saving Our Youth. She's the author of the #1 best-selling book, Mission Unstoppable. She wrote with Les Brown and George Fraser, all the way from Detroit, Michigan. Good morning, Lynette.
Good morning, Jill. Good morning to all the champions on the line. Yes, indeed, we're killing procrastination in 2016 because the future is right now. Let's go.
Let's go. The future is right now. Folks, we thank you so much for joining us. Please go ahead and visit our Facebook group. It's called the Momentum Money Discussion Group. Go ahead and join us. Request permission to access the group, and we'll let you in, and you can dialogue with us right now. You can ask questions, or you can hashtag a quote or something that you love to hear. So make sure that you join us right there. And today we have a powerful discussion on gratitude. We have a powerful discussion on Thanksgiving. Is it a holiday or is it a lifestyle, Lynette? Why don't you walk us through? Before we do, I want to give a shout-out to Ms. Dawn Roseman, the co-host who is traveling with her family today. We miss you. We love you. We look forward to you returning. And, Lynette, why don't you go ahead and lead us into this powerful discussion this morning?
Well, absolutely. Thanks, Jill. You know, the question that you asked, Thanksgiving, is it a holiday or is it a lifestyle? And, you know, as we enter into the season of giving thanks, Thanksgiving, we begin to take inventory of all the many blessings that we have. This is the normal thing for this time of year, and it's a beautiful thing, Jill, to see people take the entire month of November and post, all the things that they're thankful for. I've seen it already on Facebook. I'm hearing it from people. And although I'm not belittling that, we should be grateful and thankful for all the goodness that we have in our lives 365 days a year. We really should develop a lifestyle of giving thanks. And that's what we want to talk about this morning. With all of the hurt and the pain and all the things that the world, just brings our way, we could focus on all those things, right? And I want to bring the co-host in on this conversation because there are so many things that we could focus on and take us off of the reasons why we should be thankful. But we want to understand and share how to give thanks every single day. Why is it important to express gratitude every single day? Well, how about it? That's the question. Jill, what do you think?
Well, why is it important to express gratitude every single day? I think it keeps you alive. So, Lynette, I did a little bit of research on the power of Thanksgiving and the power of gratitude and found that there are certain benefits. And the first benefit, they said, when it comes to being thankful is it attracts our desires. Did you know that scientific studies show that when you are thankful, when you have an attitude of gratitude, it means you are consciously aware of those things that you are grateful for, and you begin to subconsciously walk in that direction and draw those very things to you that you were thankful for. Like if you're thankful for good health, right, you're thankful for beautiful, peaceful, harmonious relationships, you're thankful for that great job, you're thankful for that promotion, whatever that thing is, you begin to attract that. The next one it says, Lynette, is that it improves relationships. I love that. There are three more benefits, but this is why we should be grateful, is because scientific studies show that there are reasons, there are ways it can impact your life. Lynette, it says it improves problem solving, reduces negativity in your life, and relieves pressure. Is that powerful or what?
Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. Let me back up. It attracts our desires. Now, wait a minute. If I am thankful and grateful and appreciative of the love that I receive, you mean to tell me it expands?
Yes.
If I'm appreciative of my health, I may wake up with an ache or a pain, but I still woke up. I'm still able to move, right? You mean to tell me that wherever there is appreciation, basically you're saying there's duplication.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. That's a hashtag. Hashtag Mama Lynette. Say that one more time.
Wherever there's appreciation, there's duplication.
I love that.
I love it. I love
my
that.
Goodness.
I love that.
Michelle, come on in on the conversation. I mean, when you think about it, it sounds really simple, but I don't know if everybody gets that because a lot of times we're looking for things, but if we just give that thing that we're looking for, it expands. Talk about it, Michelle.
Well, Lynette, it's the same theory as misery loves company. But we could switch it and say, if I'm thankful, I'm going to draw those same type of people around me. One thing that I do with a dear friend of mine, and she's on the phone today, one thing we do every day, we begin to say what we see till it begins to expand and create such a aroma of excitement, of anticipation. And it's the same thing when we begin to give thanks. It is like this, and I don't know if Bishop can talk, but when the Bible tells us when we enter into God's presence, there's fullness of joy. Well, there is no sorrow with joy. There's no pain with joy. When we get into a environment or with other people with the same like-minded thoughts, I mean, it could change your life. It's going to duplicate.
Well, Michelle, I can't talk, at least at this moment. Here's one of the things that we have to understand. We have to understand who we are grateful to and who is the source of all of the good that comes into our lives. So often we focus on the resource and we ignore the source, and that's when the resource dries up. So if God is good all the time, then he's worthy of our thanks, even when we don't see physically what we're thankful for. And one of the things that I've discovered is sometimes our pain seduces us, and so our attention gets focused on the pain so that we cannot rejoice in what is going well with us. So even if my body has pain in it, I still can be grateful for the fact that I have a loving family and that I have a roof over my head and those kind of things. So we can't allow ourselves to ever be seduced by what's not right, because what is right, that's God, he's always worthy of our praise and our thanksgiving.
Absolutely, absolutely. My goodness, you know, when I think about all the things that we have to be thankful for, I look at it as gifts, right? And Bishop, you just said, you know, who's the source? Who are we, expressing the gratitude towards? But when you think about the things that are outside of our control, right? Waking up every day. I'm not in control of that, right? But that's something to express gratitude for. The fact that I can see, the fact that I can move my fingers. There are things that I do not have control over. And there are challenges that come my way that I don't necessarily have control over. And again, the pain of certain things can distract us. Danita, I want to bring you in on the conversation, because a lot of times, you know, if we would just look at the things that we have to be grateful for as gifts from our Creator, oh my goodness, the things we focus on, and as it relates to gratitude, it will expand. Danita, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I'm listening to everybody on the call, and I'm thinking most of the time we have a tendency to hope and seek for happiness, which is usually contingent on circumstances. So if circumstances are going well, if I got money in the bank, you know, if I'm losing weight, if I got the job I want, I'm happy. What happens with happiness, though, is that it's contingent on circumstances. So the minute something falters, then I'm not happy anymore. Whereas now I'm learning to speak that I want joy, because joy is something that you have. It's everlasting. It's something that, you know, yesterday was the birthday of my brother who was murdered. And because I have joy, I didn't have a mourning spirit yesterday. I had a spirit of gratefulness that, you know, I could remember the years that I had with him. I could remember, you know, how joyful he was as a person. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't go into a state of mourning. I went into a state of celebration that, you know, God, look at what you gave us when he was present. And so I'm learning that even the worst of situations, when you have joy, it's something about it. It's something about that resonates in your spirit that you're able to move and press forward. And as Dawn says all the time, able to lean in and continue life. And when you arrive in a room, you know, happiness again. When I arrive in a room, I want joy to come with me. So I don't want it to be contingent on when I arrive in the room and the person that let me go from a job is present, then I shift my attitude. No, when I arrive in the room, I don't care who is in the room. I bring joy with me. And so then, like you said, it's almost contagious. People want to attract to it, and you want to attract to them. And so I'm excited to hear that we're having this dialogue, because we're coming up on that holiday season, and so many people leave unhappy because, again, they contingent on, is my family act right? If they bring the dishes they promised they said they was gonna cook, you know, if they show up and so and so ain't drinking. No, bring joy to the table. Be grateful for meet people where they are, so that they can feel God's presence in and through you. So, that's how I see it, Lynette.
I love that, Danita, and what you said, bring joy to the table, and that's intentional. That's intentional. Yeah. So, it's really important, and I just wanted to, I want to throw this out there, because there's someone on the line, and there's someone that we know, right, that struggles with this. And as I'm thinking, and as I'm actually, thinking about this, I'm specifically thinking of a person in my life that is struggling with trying to find gratitude in the midst of a trial, right? So there's people that have lost a job, they've lost a home, they are going through a separation, they're going through a divorce, and it can really shake you. These challenges, these trials. And, you know, in the midst of that, I remember, you know, the conversation I had with this individual, you know, to really find thanks, right, to find thanks. Danita, you had a fire a year or so ago, and I'm sure, you know, right now you can see how to find gratitude in that tragedy, so to speak, but to give gratitude in what God had in store for you all along. So, Jill, let's talk to those people who may be struggling with finding gratitude in the midst of a trial.
Absolutely. You know, I was listening to what Danita said, and I really want her to lead this discussion. I mean, we all have trials, right? Some are more visible than others. You just named one, and Danita named one too, that she's experienced that would take most people out of the game of hope, right? She lost her home, everything burned down to the ground. And I know we have somebody else on the call who experienced that. Karen Davis is on the line, who also experienced that. And to watch these warriors encourage others in the midst of their own fire. And then Danita just talked about losing her brother, and that she made a choice in which she responded to that hurt or that pain. And what I'm hearing this morning, and the encouragement for those on the line this morning, is that gratitude is a choice. You know, it's not a feeling. It's not, I feel good, so I'm gonna say thank you. I feel the sun is shining, so I'm gonna be grateful. It's a choice. It's a decision, and that's also what the article said that I was reading this morning. That you can choose and decide to have gratitude, to be thankful, and you should intentionally look for those things. There is at least one thing you can count as a blessing, and you start there. And if it's only one thing, you stay there, and you repeat it over and over and over until you can move forward. But, Danita, I would love for you to share a little bit about that. And we all have had tragedy. I'm asking Danita because Lynette just mentioned the one that we all know about, which is the fire. What is the encouragement for the person on the line this morning who is struggling with suicide, struggling with not having enough food to eat? Come on, because you know we have people like that, not having enough resources for Thanksgiving dinner. Danita.
You know, Jill, the one thing I just started writing when you talked, and I said setbacks to set up. You know, I've learned that the fire, that's the one thing that it taught me when I stood in the middle of that street and saw everything gone that I owned. And, you know, I kept saying to God, like, why would you do this? Like, what is this about? And so then I had to totally lean and trust him. And so one thing I've learned is sometimes the setback that we deem as such a tragedy is usually his greatest setup. It's his greatest moment for him. And you have to be willing, though, to trust him, which means he needs you to stand strong. He needs you to understand it. And I had moments of, like, weeping, trust me, publicly and privately. But what I did learn is, Danita, he wants to know that you're going to still speak his love, speak his language, and his word to people, because people was watching, like, okay, is she going to break? One lady saw me a week later, and she said, you don't look like you had a house fire. I don't know what that looks like. I didn't understand that. And I thought, okay, people expect you to look broken. And so on today, I would have to say your setback is absolutely your setup. Be open to God's plan in your life, even when it's uncomfortable. And the other thing is when he takes you down to nothing, truly he's up to something. I believe that. I believe that in my house fire, in my job loss, in my divorce, he took me down to nothing because he needed my attention. And so then he was up to something. So when I sit here this morning talking to y'all in a brand new home, you know, that still has the brand new smell, that is fully furnished. Now, that wasn't my wish to get it that way, but that was God's plan, and he orchestrated it that way. And so I had a new experience with God in building a home through the tragedy. And then, you know, when he chose me to lose my job this year, you know, a lot of people don't know that on the call. And so right before I took the trip to Brazil, there was a job loss for me. And, Jill, I was devastated, but I still had to go and do his work across the world. And so had I said, woe is me, or not, I'm not going, I would have missed an opportunity for him to operate in a bigger scope in my life. And so, for me, I'm learning that I was fireproof for purpose. And so I'm learning that sometimes, Jill, that setback is your setup. And our people need to understand you have to be willing to be uncomfortable and go through, but keep your joy, because happiness is contingent on the circumstance, and joy is everlasting.
Wow.
Hey, Jill. The Bible says that in everything give thanks. And I think it's important that we understand what he's instructing us to do. He didn't say for everything give thanks. In everything give thanks. We find ourselves in situations that we didn't look for, hope for, or wish for, but we still give thanks in that situation. And what Thanksgiving does, it attracts the very presence of the one who can deliver us out of that situation. We want out of the situation, but in order to get out, we have to invite him in. So in everything, give thanks, and when he comes in, it's to lift us out. So the key is you don't have to celebrate tragedy. You don't have to be grateful for the tragedy. Just be grateful in it, because when you do so, you invite him in, and then he can lift you out and see you through.
That's powerful.
That's good, Bishop. That's good.
Yeah.
Folks, if you are just joining us, we are talking about giving thanks daily, making it a lifestyle, not just a holiday. Yes, we are upon the Thanksgiving holiday, but we want this to be a lifestyle. And, Danita, you said so much in your sharing, and I just remember in the middle of that, you came to Detroit to sow seeds at the Detroit Makeover Conference. Like, you know, it didn't stop you. You lost your job, and you were still able to, not let that take you out of the game. And God used you to touch lives in Brazil. My goodness. The more that we give of what we want, the more you will get what you want. And it's easy to say it, but when you really, you demonstrate that principle. You demonstrated that. And so I really want the listeners to get that. We're going to encounter people that just, they need to understand that. We may be going through that very same thing, but in the middle of that, when you're down to nothing, as Danita said, God is up to something. Michelle, I want to bring you back in on this conversation. God's goodness and greatness, he's drawn to that gratitude, right? So when you think about people, you were talking about the conversation that you have with a friend of yours, right? People are drawn to gratitude. People are drawn to, I think about children, right? They will run to you, and they are all, I love young people, and I always express gratitude when I'm around young people, right? But I get a better response when people feel appreciated and when I show thanks. And so we are going to encounter folks this week, right? Family, friends, loved ones. On Thursday, if you have, gatherings with your family, I just wanted to shift the conversation before we end the call on how we can make an impact with the people that we are encountering this week by showing and expressing gratitude. So, Michelle, what ways can we improve the impact that we make this week as we highlight gratitude?
One way, and this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to listen to what the other person is saying. Sometimes we could get consumed in what we're doing, and we're talking about it. But I'm going to be purposeful in asking what is going on in my family's life. They could see what I'm doing, but because they're not doing something so visible, we may not talk about it. But that is one way of showing gratitude, to say, how are you doing? What's good in your life? What are you trying to achieve? What are you dreaming for? And begin to allow the conversation to be about someone else and not you, in a positive way and in a negative way. How about we not talk from a posture of, woe is me, or from the place of I don't have. Let's talk from the place of what we do have, and begin to allow the other person to share with us. And we are intentionally listening and acknowledging what the other person is saying it. And I'm sure if we do that, they'll be grateful, they'll be thankful, they'll be actually surprised that we actually listening to them. How many of us actually listen to other people? You know, so that's what I'm going to do, Lynette.
I love it. I love it. Jill, what are you going to do this week to make an impact on your family, your friends, as we highlight gratitude? We have an opportunity to make a huge impact this week with our family and friends. And I just want to hear from all of the co-hosts, what are we going to do to make a better impact?
I'm going to be super present. And that's a gift, right? Because we live in a day and time, and I can speak about me, where I'm always on my phone. You know, I mean, I'm always answering an email or sending an email or checking a text, or I can be in front of you, but sometimes I'm not present. I'm going to be transparent this morning. And so I think to show gratitude, I'm going to be present. You know, last night I was doing my daughter's hair, and she said, "Mom, thank you for doing this." And she know I had 5 conference calls back to back. On one of them, I had to put them on mute while I did her hair. And she said, "Mom, thank you for making time for me." And I'm thinking, but this is what I'm supposed to do. But those moments we had meant so much to her. And so, Lynette, to answer your question, I am going to be ever present.
I love that. I love that. I love that. My goodness. And when I think about giving, right, you're going to be more present. I'm sure there's going to be situations where that will be reciprocated, you know, and you can truly appreciate it in that moment. Bishop, I'm going to bring you back in. This week, we're going to have an opportunity to impact others as we come and go. How are you going to build on that as we highlight gratitude and giving thanks?
Well, only a few people, I think, on the call know my story, but my mother had 4 children, and I am the only surviving a child. And because my wife and I, we've been married for 32 years, we've never missed spending a Thanksgiving together. But as our parents are getting older, and considering the situation with my family, the sacrifice that we made was she is going to be in Fort Wayne with her biological family, and I'm going to be in Chester with my mom, because I don't know how many more Thanksgivings each of us will have with our respective parents. And so the sacrifice was my wife and I, by agreement, decided that we wanted to spend Thanksgiving this year with our respective biological families. And for me, that's a sacrifice because, to be real honest with you, major holidays I love spending with her. And so being grateful for my mother, she being grateful for her mother, we decided to invest in spending what time we have with our respective mothers. And I think that is the greatest way I can demonstrate how grateful I am that my mother is still with us.
Wow, that's good. That's good. That's good. Danita, how are you going to make an impact this week and every day, but this week as we highlight gratitude and giving thanks? We have a great opportunity, and I keep repeating that because I want the listeners to also think about how your presence will make an impact this week in gratitude.
Well, I really thought about it last night, and I'm going to do a grateful challenge, and I'm hoping some of the callers will join me with this. But I'm going to shift the atmosphere with my family at Thanksgiving this year. I already started last night writing index cards because I had to make it affordable. So Hallmark can get my money. But I'm going to write for each family member something that I'm grateful for with them, because I think too many times, I love what you said, Michelle, that a lot of times because we are doing some amazing work, that I come in the door and I get celebrated, but I really want to celebrate and honor some of my quiet warriors in the room of my family. And so I want to be intentional, even down to my nieces and nephews who are in high school and middle school and who are doing great work or they're struggling. But I want them to leave the Thanksgiving table this year with a sense of hope. And so I'm really looking forward to this grateful challenge of just touching them with words of affirmation and encouragement when I come in the door. And so they will all be receiving an index card. I'm hoping they sleep, so they're not listening, but that's okay if they are. That's kind of my mission, is just a grateful challenge. So even for our callers today, whatever you think would work for your family, even if you don't write it, if it's just words, take a challenge to just show your gratefulness for the people in your life. Because, again, I sense, Lynette, even on Facebook and social media outlets, I've already been sensing some people who are silently suffering due to the holiday season coming up on us, and with death and the way that the world has been plagued with such sadness from the presidential voting and just life, that healing needs to come forth. And so the other thing I'm thinking of doing, Lynette, is really trying to heal anybody that I've hurt. So anything any off that I've had with some people, just getting that together and fixing it before we go into the 2017 year. So that's my mission.
I love that. And I definitely want to share with you on this grateful challenge to all of our listeners on the line. Go to our Facebook page, list what you're grateful for, but take the challenge with us. I think it. I know it'll do something for you. It's nothing like loving on people, but intentionally. See, that's an intentional act that will yield so much at the end of the day. So I just want to thank you all for really, really building on this topic. We sometimes can go through our days, just taking things for granted. And I really want to encourage everyone to really stop and appreciate the flowers. Hey, I'm in Michigan. It's cold, okay? I am so thankful that I have an opportunity to go into a warm house. Everybody don't have that opportunity. I'm thankful for, clothes on my back. I'm thankful for, the list is so huge. When I really put down on paper all the things that I am blessed with, there is no room for me to focus on anything negative. Yes, there are challenges that show up, but when I focus on all the gifts, the list is huge. It definitely outweighs the bad. So I just want to encourage everyone, make an impact on someone this week. Make sure that you are developing and building these relationships. The mood this week is on giving thanks and gratitude. Love on someone, support them, encourage them. This is your time to really, really take advantage of relationships. So I want to open up the lines. I want to hear everyone this morning say, I have an attitude of gratitude. It is 8 o'clock, and we're going to sign off now. I have an attitude of gratitude.
Thank you, ladies.
Have an attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude. Attitude of gratitude.